What's up everyone, back today with another Gladiator video, just going over some parts and some changes that I've made since the last video. If you saw my sneak peek, you might have a bit of an idea of what's going on. So these are the parts that I've added to the car. Now, the high clearance links there I believe are a new part. To my knowledge they weren't made in brass beforehand. So here's some pictures of weight comparisons of the new parts and the overall weight of the car. Feel free to pause those just for your own reference. Here's some clips of the parts installed on the car, so you can see the high clearance brass links there. And it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see the brass bits at the front there. They're all just blacked out. So basically, this video didn't really turn out exactly how I wanted it. I had intended on using some footage that I recorded a little while ago, back when the car was still stock out of the box, doing these same obstacles. Unfortunately, I do not know what's happened to that footage. It's been lost along the way. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't really have the footage for comparison, so it sort of ended up just being a, if you were to buy these parts and stick them straight onto your Gladiator using the stock tyres, this is the kind of performance you'd get. So as you can see here, we're struggling to get up the rock with just the stock tyres on. So yeah, it's sort of turned into a comparison between the brass beadlocks and the stock plastic rims that came on the car, with the added benefits of the high clearance links and a bit of extra front weight, with the steering assembly and the knuckles and all that. So here you can see the brass beadlocks. They do have Endura Hydrax copy tyres on them, so they're basically the exact same tread pattern. Now these tyres are phenomenal. They seem to just grip really well to nearly any surface, and I mean this is a rough sandstone rock here, and they seem to just love it. They just, once they grip and grab, you just straight up. So you can see these two clips here. It's a bit of a struggle to get up this rock either way. You do really have to hit sort of the perfect line, and yeah, other than that, you know, you won't get up unless you hit that perfect line. So it does struggle with the brass wheels still, but yeah, just that added extra weight forcing those tyres into the rock eventually will get you up there, as you can see right there. There you go, so we made it up. So here we go on some descents with the stock tyres. One thing I did notice with the slight extra weight from the brass components is these stock tyres become a lot more bouncy. So you can definitely tell there's no foams in there. They just sort of wobble around and bounce. It's quite funny to look at. You can sort of see the wobbling there from the tyres. But yeah, as you can see, sort of it does well on this rock here. But yeah, those stock tyres just aren't heavy enough to prevent that lean and sort of topple over nearly every time, and it's always sort of more likely to cock a wheel and sort of extend the shocks back out and make you a bit more top heavy. With the stock wheels, I find with the brass wheels, it's sort of the weight of the actual wheel is just sort of pulling the suspension down towards the ground and sort of forcing it to conform to the surface that you're on. So yeah, the heavier wheels obviously just help with more contact on the rocks. But here you can see the sideways angle with the brass wheels is much more suitable for the car, and you know, it sort of just plops off there and is able to drive away without tumbling off. As you can see, it gets to some pretty steep angles, and there you go, sort of just drives straight out of it. So yeah, and now here we've got so this is a playground. It's like some soft rubber matting underneath a Flying Fox, so it's actually quite steep. I didn't take a measurement of the angle, but yeah, here you can see the stock tyres sort of struggling for grip, just bouncing, just spinning wheels. Typically once that sand clears out of underneath the tyre, it sort of grabs, and there you can see there it grabbed a bit once I hit full speed. You did need full acceleration to sort of get up this hill with the stock tyres. And even then, as you can see here, it sort of just struggles, squiggling around side to side, just struggling for grip. Now we've got the brass wheels, So once again, once the sand clears out of underneath the tyre, it sort of just grabs and look at that, like just walk straight up, bit of slippage, clearing the sand out again, and look at that, just keeps clearing that sand, grabs on, clearing the sand, and eventually it will get you to the top. So that was still a bit of a struggle, but a lot less struggling compared to the stock tyres. So yeah, big performance there. So basically I'm just going to leave you here with some clips basically side by side of the stock tyres versus the brass tyres, and yeah, we'll get back into it close to the end of the video. So here you can see I've sort of just built some basic bricks, basic obstacle at home, just to quickly demonstrate the difference between the high clearance links. So basically you can see right there, before it hopped over, it was sitting on all of the links. The wheels are still basically contacting the ground, so clear evidence that they're working. Now this obstacle is quite hard. For the stock tyres to get up, they just don't seem to have the grip to be able to roll up the stairs there, even when you give it a bit of an angle to sort of help step the rear wheel up. It doesn't have enough grip to climb, and yeah, it's a lot more prone to toppling over just like that. So now we're back onto the brass wheels with the Enduro Hyrax copies. As you can see, it just sort of climbs straight over this obstacle with a bit of angle. Even then, just straight up and over, down the other side, no problems. Just heaps of grip, bit of speed there, nice momentum straight up and over. That was one thing I found couldn't really do with the stock tyres, was the speed. I found that the tyres were just too bouncy, and it would end up sort of hitting the obstacle, and then the tyre would compress and bounce off, and then sort of send the car in a different direction. So couldn't really hit it with a whole lot of speed on the stock tyres. Yeah, basically just too bouncy. So here's a different obstacle, sort of different configuration, just to add more of a staircase effect to the obstacle, so you can sort of see how these tyres struggle to climb up step by step, going back and forth, giving it a bit of side by side, just bouncing, spinning wheels. Pop it up there, you can sort of see the bounce where it sort of wanted to go right, and then yeah, it can't get up without falling off either side. It's just the bricks aren't super wide, they're probably double the width of the car itself, but yeah, you can just see there, it just does not want to go up. A bit of speed, you can see that bounce off the top ramp there, the front sort of just bounced up and away. And there you go, fell off again. So yeah, as I mentioned, this video didn't really turn out as I'd hoped. or as I had expected. Basically just turned into more of a stock wheel comparison. But basically the gist of the video is weight helps, and the brass bead locks, as you can see here, really make a massive difference. Now I would like to try the stock tyres with these bead locks. Unfortunately I'd want to preserve my original pair of the stock tyres, but if I end up with the opportunity to get some of the stock tyres just on their own, no rims, I would like to fit them up to these brass bead locks and see how they perform just with the added weight. I feel like they deserve it because they're a nice feeling tyre. So overall, basically, I love the Enduro parts on this car. They just are awesome to deal with. The parts fit straight onto the car, there's no modification. A little bit of assembly, like with the bushings and the rubber O-rings, but other than that, they just fit straight on. Perfect replacements, super high quality, couldn't be happier. With the wheels, I believe they're a Power Hobby wheel. I'll have to confirm that. I'll put the picture up on screen. But they are fairly expensive, sort of if you're looking at aluminium bead locks for a TRX4. They're a similar price for the 1-inch bead locks for the SCX24, so they're not exactly cheap, but they do make a big difference. And you can see that weight through the sand there, those tyres just getting pushed all the way into the sand with the bead locks. Whereas the stock tyres, the tyre sits on top of the sand a lot more. Now that's a good and a bad thing. If you're going on just rocks though, like I mostly do, yeah, you kind of want the weight down low. But yeah, to finish up the video, basically yeah, Enduro parts for the win, Power Hobby parts for the win, and SCX24 for the win. These things are awesome. With a few mods and a bit of extra weight on them, they become insane machines. So stick around if you want to see more videos on this thing. I do have some aluminium shocks coming soon, so there'll be another video on that. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.